Welcome, everyone. Thank you for being here with us in this beautiful day at Dripping with the legend Laraaji. I'm Salwa ABD. I make music under the alias Bergsonist, and I run Pick Up the Flow, an opportunity resource based in New York. And Laraaji needs no introduction. If you're in this planet, of course you know Laraaji, but if you're from a different planet, Laraaji is the forefather of both ambient and new age music. And he's a multi-instrumentalist, composer, and spiritual practitioner, renowned for like many years, and his contribution to ambient, new age, and experimental music. Hi, Laraaji.
Hi, Salwa.
How are you feeling today?
My general answer is this way. So when I say I'm feeling this way, I'm implying that there's no separation between us and we all are intimately one field right now. So when I say this way, it means we're all in it together. And this way is comfortable, this way is relaxed, this way is receptive, also open. I feel open because I don't know where you're going to go.
Yeah. Breathing. Yeah, I love the air, fresh air of this environment. And yeah, I'm really honored to be here today and host this conversation. I'm really curious about your childhood, your life, your vision, your career. I mean, as a musician, for me, you're an inspiration. It's like a model. And the fact that we're here is really special, and I'd love to dive into your childhood. I know that you were born in Philly.
I was never born.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
But the body, birth certificate, Philadelphia, 1943, Hahnemann Hospital.
Wow. It's really nice that you remember, like, that you can like.
I don't remember it. It's on the birth certificate.
True. But I know that you were like you studied violin, piano, trombone, the voice at a very early age. And I'm curious, who led you to music?
My heart. The fascination with where the imagination and the mind could go when music was suddenly playing. It's like I could leave one definition of the surroundings, whether I was at home in my bedroom or in the living room or outside the house. When music was on, I could go to a different dimensional understanding of the present time. I could travel. And so listening to music offered me that. And so I just wanted to get my hands on the same. Maybe if I play music, and I found out I could get more into the immersive experience of sound by playing and performing, even if I was doodling and improvising. So the transportive function of music was very obvious to me, and I use it psychologically, emotionally, to be transported into another interpretation of the same present moment.
Yeah. Did you have aspirations?
Say what?
Like, did you have any aspirations?
Say what? Did you? Did you? Did you?
Did you? Oh, yeah. It's very interesting to feel.
To speak with the diaphragm engaged?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So, like, did you?
Did I what? Oh, perhaps I did.
Yeah. Cool. But to go back, for me, it's so fascinating, like how I know you had this formal training and you were interested in music and you went to Howard University, which is a very prestigious university. But then you gravitated towards improvisational techniques.
I've always been into improvisation. I went to school to get better at it. And when I observe artists do their things, music, that I was fascinated. It's where do you have to be in your head and your imagination or in your body to let that kind of improvisation happen? And so I started sensing that I had to go to higher education, college, and learn music theory and composition, major in piano. Wow. That gave me the tools for opening up spontaneously. But it wasn't until I started practicing meditation that I found out that the music I was looking for is already inside of me. That meditation allowed me to just be a present, clear channel. Once my facility was exercise, scales and arpeggios, and that doing my exercises and then allowing myself to become an empty vessel, that at the piano, improvisations would happen, music would happen, that I didn't have to play linear music. I could play music of just free expression.
Wow. And
what?
And I say, wow.
Did you say what?
Whoa.
Whoa.
I love this. Yeah. You know, because I was so nervous, like, to interview you, and now I feel great. Like. And I mean, yesterday the performance was so beautiful, and you played piano.
I didn't.
No?
No.
Yeah. But
I never did anything.
But what did you do?
We never did anything. We're doing it. We're doing it. I am playing the piano. It is.
Yeah, that makes me think of the I am concept. Is it a concept or it's like a way of thinking?
I am is beautiful, it's bliss, and it's beyond. It's beyond the self that is presently entangled in names, titles, and classifications. That was one of the exercises for getting into meditation, is after doing some deep breathing, after learning how to stay focused on a single point for 21 minutes without fidgeting, blink my eyes, swallow saliva, but no fidgeting. Then take off all the titles, names, and classifications that were or are being used to point to this meanness. I'm not a social security number. I'm not a license plate number. I'm not an email address. I'm not Negro. I'm not colored. I'm not an American. I'm not an earth being. I'm not male. I'm not a father, a son. Just take off everything that's attached to I am and sit with just I am, what's left. And at that point, I realized all the stuff, all the emotions, anger, jealousy, fear, rage, belongs to the titles, not to I am. So I am, I think, is the platform for bliss and beauty, experiencing the beauty of one's own being and beyond, because we're beyond the body of the thinking mind and the body of titles. And so if I ask you, who are you? And you say, I'm a doctor. And I'm saying, okay, drop everything and just be I am. Then next day the doctor comes to me and tells me they're getting sued because their patient, the patient not getting proper care. But the idea of spending time, I think if you're on a hero or heroine's journey, you want to spend at least 10% of every day with us 2.5 hours in the void, in the emptiness, in the still zone. And If you don't know how to do it, go to a pasture and watch a cow or a horse just standing there doing nothing. The idea of doing nothing, nada, just being, I am, just I am. I am. If I ask you who you are, just be still and know that you are, and that's the answer. Is, well, I am. Everybody know that. I don't know why you're asking me. You should know this by now. But but just to be, I am. You are beyond linear time, linear location. You're here, and you are here. That suddenly you are your advisor. Suddenly you are your healer. You are your best friend. You are your lover. My understanding is that meditation is the highest romance, and romance is the highest meditation. So the highest romance is that you're in very deep translinear intimacy, that the meditation with the whole omniverse, and right from here, this deep immersive intimacy with everything, with meditation. It's a romance. And romance, romance, you're in a field of intimacy and warmth and compassion and embrace and all the yummy things, romance. You know what romance is? Do you?
Yeah.
You sure you do.
Yeah.
You would say it.
I mean, it's like, so when you talk about romance, it's not romance, it's just...
Not from Rome.
No. It's from the like living, like experiencing our surrounding.
Yeah.
In
romance, it's poetic, there's charm, there's embrace, there's softness, gentleness, acceptiveness, and there's mindfulness. There's this immersive yum-yum. Immersive yum-yum.
But so how?
Can you say immersive yum-yum?
Yeah. Immersive yum-yum.
Can you say immersive yum-yum?
Can you say...
Can you say it? Immersive yum-yum.
Oh.
Immersive yum-yum.
Immersive yum-yum.
Yeah. So if you were going to ask for it, would you ask for it that way?
I don't know.
Give me some immersive yum-yum. Give me some immersive yum-yum.
Maybe. I don't know.
I'm going to hear every tent tonight saying, immersive yum-yum.
We should make a song called Immersive Yum Yum.
This is a song.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so true.
Yes.
Because the environment is the rhythm.
Nature, the field, the oxygen, gravitational pull, vibration.
But how did you get into this way of thinking, knowing that after Howard University, you moved to New York and you were exploring careers in stand-up and movies? Like, how did you find your spirituality in the noise?
Jesus! No, actually, Jesus was the tipping point. When I was young, it was Jesus, Roy Rogers, and Sidney Poitier were my big idols. Sidney Poitier confused me, but Roy Rogers was... And then Jesus in Bible school, I said, wow, the image they painted of this person who had this very intimate rapport with the divine. I said, wow, I want to do that. And little did I know that just identifying, I would even pray to Jesus when I was young. And I found that to be great psychological therapy, because I feel that Jesus could read between the lines, and I felt like I was a buddy. And so I followed that image. I even went out and got baptized at the age of 12, because I heard Jesus got baptized at the age of 12. But things they didn't tell me about Jesus is that he was also picked up and taken to mystery schools, Tibet, India, and that he was given inner knowledge. And that wasn't clear to me until I heard about it, that that's why he could do these things. I and the Father are one, and Mommy too. That so Jesus was the one that allowed me to feel that the field was wide open, what I could do psychologically. And so then got into music. My mother was very gracious. She saw that I was interested in piano and violin, and she somehow got me lessons in the piano. Then when I got into high school, I thought I wanted to be an engineer or an architect, so I applied to MIT. You know what MIT is?
Yeah.
Yes, or Rensselaer Polytech. And I wanted to be an engineer or an architect, and I took all the right courses in high school. Then somewhere around the second year of high school, I got it. Yo, I want to be in music.
Wow.
I don't want to be an engineer. Or I did want to be an engineer, but I didn't know that. I wanted to be a sound engineer. So I switched my direction, and I started applying for the college manual from Howard University, and I got accepted.
Wow.
And I went and told my physics teacher, who was very proud of me, this young man's going to be a great engineer. I said, Mr. White, I'm not going to go to MIT. I'm going to go to Howard for music. I never saw his smile again. And that's the sacrifice you can make for standing up for your calling. You can let go of the smile of approval on some faces, but you can broaden the smile of approval from your inner voice, yeah, and your inner child. So I went to Howard, and it was a very eye-opening experience, because in Howard, I'm immersed in a school, lots of people of color from different places on the earth, different cheekbones, different eye colors, different hair texture, and different ways of talking. So it was an education. At Howard, I studied music theory and composition to improve my compositional skills. So I went to Howard with the intention of getting to a place where I no longer felt like a trespasser in music. So that was my verbal intention. I want to get to a place where I feel comfortable and don't feel like a trespasser in this creative performance medium. And I achieved that after 2 years, but I stayed for 4 years because, you know why? Because of the party life at Howard.
Nice. How was it like?
The party life?
Yeah.
Yummy. Yes. Because it was at a time when Motown was big and you had all the Motown hits going on. And college party life at Howard was quite yummy, off-campus partying mostly.
And when you moved to New York, were you going to music shows? Like, how was your life? Because I know when you moved to New York, you had your career in comedy, stand-up comedy.
Yes.
How was it, like, being in New York after graduating from Howard and just navigating?
Well, so when I left Howard, I should say that after the second year of Howard, I pledged a fraternity, Kappa Alpha Psi. It was a party fraternity. And also, up to the point I got to Howard, I was pretty much into like a Christian Baptist kind of sensibility. And at Howard was the first time I was away from my parents and the home. And so I said, God, I'm going to take a vacation from you. I'm going to do my thing. And that's what I heard on the other side.
Maybe that's what sparked.
Who's laughing?
Do you think that? Yeah, sorry, continue. Because I was thinking of like laughter in your life. Maybe that laughter ingrained, it planted the seed in your unconscious. And then later on, when you started doing laughter meditation, maybe it's linked. I don't know. It's a weird, yeah.
Well, I always enjoyed laughter, even as a young person. I grew up in a government housing project, and if you this government housing project, there were, you could call them very rough and tough young men that could intimidate you very easily if you weren't on the right side. So I learned how to use laughter to kind of balance the field. I could tell jokes, I could make funny faces, I could get someone into the soft side very fast. So I developed an appreciation for comedy and started doing comedy in high school skits. And then into college, found some funny classmates, and we did comedy routines for the homecoming shows and other talent shows in college. And then we got the strong inspiration, says, hey, you guys should go to the Bitter End in New York, like Bill Cosby and Richard Pryor. And so I said, well, maybe I should do that. So that the third year of college, or fourth year, my laughter friend, Charles, and I said, let's, during the Thanksgiving break, we go home to New Jersey and then get over to New York and try out at the Bitter End on Tuesday night. And we had a skit all ready to go. So I get home, and then I go to the Bitter End in New York, but Charles never showed up. So I had to revise our skit for one person, and I did well enough for the people that said, hey, you got something there. And I said, that inspired me to want to come return. And then a few months later, I returned and started living in New York. And I asked Charles, when I got back to college, I said, Charles, what happened? Where bist du, my man? And Charles says, my mother intercepted me. She said, you're going to do what with your college education? And she was in favor of him pursuing comedy. And so he stayed. He probably finished, got his degree, and he probably got a nice job and a car and a family and a house. He's somewhere probably living happily ever after, not having to take the chance that I took. So I went to live in New York and started doing these hootenannies, that's what they were called, in coffee houses. And finally, an agent saw me and put me on a tour around parts of the United States. It was the Job Corps tour. And there you had three artists. One had to be intergender and interracial. And I was this comedy MC. And I also did works at the Apollo Theater, some film work, and comedy around various parts. At some point, I was starting to explore metaphysics, or the laws of consciousness, mind science, the science of mind. I didn't understand at the beginning, but that the mind, there's a science to how the mind works. So if I stared at you all day, I'd become you. Now, whatever we focus on expands. So the way of becoming conscious of what we are unconsciously focusing on and say, hey, do I really want more of that in my life? And so if we do that and get aware of what we're unconsciously focusing on and say, no, I really don't want more of that, we can start to let it go. And so where I'm going with this is that when I was doing comedy, I was focusing on things that I really didn't want to bring into my life anymore, like division. And one of the things that got me a really good laugh was my comedy routine. My routine was about being in love with ugly women. And that's what really turned me on. Somehow I got a laugh. And the ugliest woman I ever fell in love with was Sammy Mae Doodlebum. And it was love at first shock. And so then when I'm getting into study of metaphysics, I'm saying, hey, that's not where I really want to go. And so I dropped out of comedy based on that, on the realization that where I was going was not where I wanted to be when I got there. You know, it's one day, lots of ugly women would be showing up at my door. And they, no. And so I'm going to create beautiful people who's centered in bliss and joy and positivity. And so that's when I started working on my inner consciousness self down in the 70s. And that's when I let comedy go for a while. And then around 1980, someone showed me a book from Rajneesh Osho, orange book of meditations, and on one page in the book, a book that exposed a lot of techniques for different meditations. One of the meditations was laughter meditation. I said, what? Did you hear me say that? What?
What?
I didn't know those two words belonged together. Laughter and meditation. I thought meditation was... And I thought laughter was... So I didn't see how those two went together. And the instructions were, upon awakening in the morning, you do these exercises. Or if you're a musician, in the afternoon before getting out of bed, you lay there, do some stretches, and you keep your eyes closed, and you laugh for 15 minutes. And do this for 7 days, Selwa.
Okay.
Can you imagine doing that?
Yeah.
Wow. You hear things like you never heard. The sound of your neighbors banging on the walls.
Oh my God.
Yes.
I would rather be them. But it's, yeah, I'm like so fascinated because you're so tapped into your intuition.
How do you know that?
I feel it.
Oh, yeah. Can you say with feeling? I feel it.
I feel it.
Yes, indeed. Yeah.
And how do you hone this tapping into your intuition? How do you, like throughout the years, how do you sharpen it?
Yes. I did it accidentally by following what I felt was the inner voice and do it enough times to learn what happens when you do that. So you get comfortable with, oh, this happens, so this happens. At the beginning you think, I would never do that, man. That would trip up my life. Or that would create confusion for the people that are depending on me. So when people ask me, how do you sharpen your intuition? One suggestion is you go to your favorite park and stand at the entrance to the park, assuming you have 3 or 4 hours just to do this. And just ask yourself, with a nice, comfortable breath, yo, what's happening? What should I do? What would be an interesting way for me to walk into the park? And just feel what you think you hear as an answer. Just what do you think you heard? If you heard nothing, just wait a little longer. And if you hear this, go down by the pool and just sit there for 20 minutes. If you think you heard that, do that. And go down and sit for 20 minutes and see what happens. And then after 20 minutes is, yo, nothing happening here, what happened? Oh, just another 5 minutes. And you sit there and suddenly somebody shows up that you didn't even know was visiting this part of the world. He says, you Laraaji? Wow, we were looking for you. Can you do a gig tonight? And something like that. Yeah. You start connecting the dots. When you trust that faint, still, small voice, you have to start by, it's on the edge of the imagination at first, and you think, oh, I can avoid that. I don't have to go there. But you just start playing with that and let your system learn what happens when you follow that path. I call it the road not taken. When you start experimenting with that kind of guidance, because that's the kind of guidance that got me into playing the zither.
Yeah.
You know that?
Yeah, when you were in the pawn shop.
Yes, I was in the pawn shop.
Yeah.
And I was there in the pawn shop to pawn a guitar. It was a steel string folk guitar, Yamaha, and Martin's fiberglass case. Together they were worth about $175. But it was the first time I'd ever been in a pawn shop, so I thought, I'm going to get $175 and I'm going to be off. And the clerk offered me $25, But while I was going into the pawn shop, in the window I saw this auto harp. I saw, oh, there's that instrument I used to see in the village with bluegrass groups. So I just, made note that, oh, there's that instrument. So I go into the pawn shop. The clerk says, I can give you $25 for this. And then somebody says, oh, no, that's not going to work. No. And a voice, or what translates into a linear narrative is, don't take money, swap it for the instrument in the window.
Wow.
And as much, that was probably the very first major contact that was, I could translate into a language. Is, how does somebody in me know that there's an auto harp in the window? You know, it sounded like that scene in Matrix. You know, yo, Nero, they're coming for you. So it was so interesting that I decided to follow the rabbit hole, and I swapped it for my guitar for the auto harp in the window and $5. And something very alchemical goes on the instant I decide to follow that voice.
Wow.
Something alchemical goes on at the cellular level. It's like I've taken the hand of a cosmic grandparent of wisdom, and I'm following a nonverbal intelligence that's operating beyond linear time. That kind of sensation that I'm suddenly in a universe that's bigger than New York, bigger than the planet Earth, bigger than the solar system. That's what goes with following that kind of intuition. It's not just, I'm going to play with an auto harp. It's just, who was that? What's the nature of this time-space thing? Who knew how to contact me like that? So that goes on. You feel this inner romance. That's what I could say, that inner romance, that there's a friendly, wise being that operates even beyond GPS. And I went home and started experimenting with the auto harp, and I was guided to play with tunings of my favorite guitar tunings into the auto harp. Took the chord bars off and started exploring. And I was familiar with some of the acting school techniques at the time. And one of the big things to do is, you ever heard of the what if?
Yeah.
What if in acting?
Principle, yeah.
Yes. So I would be wandering through a hardware store or a art store, and the voice is, what if you tried playing the instrument with that? And sometimes I buy 3 or 4 of them and take them home and start experimenting with. And eventually a vocabulary developed, an original vocabulary around open tune auto harp. And eventually I began playing on the sidewalks of Brooklyn with a little amplifier, and then Manhattan. I called it performing on the sidewalks and also experimenting with generating improvisation from within an altered state, within a meditative state, just to see how much of that could get communicated. Because the music was not really linear, it wasn't melodic. It was more of a wall of sound or an ambient field. And I discovered people were easily drawn into just standing still and being baptized in that kind of music. And that led me to the getting invited to different internal, like yoga centers, conferences, concerts. And I remember when on the streets, I would get what seemed like $6 an hour.
No.
$6 seemed, it would add up. When I started selling cassettes, more would come. But then when I saw a picture of somebody who took a picture of me playing on sidewalks in lotus position,
Yeah.
yes, and I thought, I wonder if they were giving me the money because they thought I was a cripple.
Oh.
But the music generated a contact,
Yeah.
and eventually playing in larger venues. And I remember at the beginning when somebody would ask, would you play for my party tonight? You know, how much would you, can we give you $50? They'd say, yeah, that's a lot. Sometimes they go up to $80. Yeah, that's a lot. And get up to $150. Yeah, that's a lot. Would you come out to Fire Island and play for the weekend? $500 transportation. Yeah. And generally it keeps going up and up. And I noticed at the beginning when I was a little shy to even ask for $80 for a performance, you know, then you get up and people start saying, how much do you want for a weekend? And with a booking agency, it goes up too. You start asking the booking agency, would you do this for $3,000, Laraaji? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a really, I think a lot of people here are musicians and...
Are you sure about that? How many musicians here? Whoa, you're up early.
And yeah, I'm really curious about...
I'm happy for you. I'm happy. I never regretted going into music. Yes. Yeah.
Sorry, I was like... But how, like, what advice would you give to, you know, like, now New York is so expensive. Just to live in New York, you need like 5 jobs, or I mean, not 5. But yeah, it's I'm extrapolating, but like, how how can we be? Because yesterday you were singing to be free, free to be free. Like it was kind of like a mantra, and a lot of people afterwards were, you know, thinking about this, about their life, like being a musician in New York. But like, we chose this path, so we're gonna do it. We're not like a tech engineer making 200K in New York. We're like struggling, but we're doing it. We're fully honoring the path. But what would you say to these people who who took the risk to do music full time and who are struggling and have doubts?
Jesus! What? Finally, I say, get a vision. Get a vision. Whether you call it a vision quest, to have a vision, what are you doing? What are you trying to do? Are you just want to play music? Do you want to impress somebody? You want your folks to feel justified? What are you doing? And I didn't know how to answer that question. I didn't know I was on a vision quest until during my meditation years, I somehow attracted a vision. And a vision gave me a more solid grounding of what I want to do. So once you understand what is you want to do, and then this vision, it didn't happen, it is happening. So the vision is that the universe is really one, a unified field, and eternity is now. Now is the only eternity. So this is something I couldn't figure out with the thinking mind, but an immersive experience gave me this vision. And the vision was accompanied by music, and all-pervading, like multi-layers of brass instruments, weaving this intoxicatingly beautiful symphonic continuum. And I'm saying to myself, wow, nobody in this household is playing this music at 2 a.m. And it's not coming from a linear source and arriving at my ears. So I couldn't record it, I couldn't write it down. I said, what am I going to do with this experience? The next day I went to Lincoln Center Library and did my research to find whatever could point to this experience. And there were some spiritual traditions that honor this inner sound hearing experience. In the East, India, Sanskrit is called nadam. Yeah, the Shabbat, hearing the inner sound current. And it's an ethereal sound current, supposedly no ending or beginning, so it's a perfect object of contemplation when the seeker or the student wants to lift themselves out of the I am that's entangled in titles into the universal I am. Because nadam, if you listen to the sound, it doesn't sound like a James Brown top 40. It's more like a high-end, continuous, some call it a ringing sound, crickets, surfing sound, but it's a continuous sound. And because it's so present, it's more present than a linear sound. And because it's so present, it's extremely annoying if you have no desire to be in present time all the time. So then you define it as tendinitis. And the doctor says, we'll help you with that. And I think that the way they help you is try to mask it. But yogis and yoginis and spiritual athletes and devoted seekers welcome this as a gift because it's the most appropriate tool if you really want to get into sustained present time. This is your buddy. It's lightweight, compact, portable, and affordable. And different traditions have different names for it. And I came to learn that even in the Bible, In the beginning was the Word. That, the Word, is what is being spoken of. It's that eternal sound current. It's everywhere. Even those who are clinically diagnosed as deaf can still participate in this experience, because you might not want to call it hearing as much as feeling, discerning, or witnessing, or observing this inner pulsation. And after a while, I learned it becomes like a brain massage, and I look forward to it. And I don't have to do anything. I just sit still and be immersed in this massage. And what I learned, that this prepares me for a higher level of intuitive and telepathic intercommunication. Yes, just opens up the portal.
Have you ever entered in trance when
Aren't
you
you going to say
perform?
wow?
Wow. Wow. Yeah, I love the word wow.
Wow. I understand in African language it means yes. I think wow means
Wow,
yes.
yeah.
Wow. Wow.
Because you know, in Morocco we have Gnawa music.
Yes, Ganawan music.
Yeah, and
Have you heard it in Morocco?
yeah.
And where is it usually played?
In the southeast, Essaouira.
Outdoors, indoors?
Yeah, everywhere. Like it's part of like they do it in weddings, but also like if you're sick, you can go to the ma'lam. It's the person who lead the ceremony,
Yes.
and they would play for you, and you can enter in trance.
Okay, trance.
Yeah.
Big word. All right, Ganawan, yeah.
And I'm curious because with your music, for instance, in celestial vibration, I feel like I can sense that continuous, non-linear sound.
Wow.
You know?
Yes.
And I'm curious, have you ever entered in a trance while performing?
No, before performing.
Before performing?
Yes, trance could, conscious trance, shifting the trance. So let's say if if I walk into a venue, I'm in a fourth dimensional structure. There's a stage, there's an audience sitting in front of me. So that would be the third and fourth dimensional, it's a trance, consciousness. If I can will myself, usually using inner sound and meditation, into what some might call the fifth dimension, a trance in which I'm not separate from any body. This really cures stage fright. That I'm interacting as a field within a field, and the field is my audience, and I am here, one, and oh, yummy, 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 yummy. And so we call it a trance or conscious alteration of perception. And this allows me to interact within a different perception of what the venue is. The venue is no longer third and fourth dimension of four walls, but a circumference-free field. And the idea of letting music come forward that's rapporting within a circumference-free field is a music that's more open, flowing, is not so intent on having an official ending or beginning, but it's sort of like drifting and floating and wafting and yummy, yummy, yummy. Yes. So we call it a trance, self-altered awareness. Some call it meditation, a meditative trance, a contemplative trance, a fixed gaze. I feel I might have been doing that early in life, and it'd be called daydreaming. Daydreaming could be called. And it could be constructive daydreaming as well, too, for which I got reprimanded by a teacher when I was young. I used to do a lot of that in school, and I wasn't taught how to honor it as a sacred practice.
Yeah, that's really unfortunate how people in power or like schools, institutions, and even our parents can prevent us from feeling connected to our surroundings.
Yes. You know what's going on with your parents when they do that? They love you. They want you to be safe and happy.
But I'm curious, how do you protect your peace? Because
I use a urinal. Well, I try to protect my peace. It's very important. It's very, especially in New York. If you're walking down the street, there are many callings to disrupt you.
yeah,
If you want to, you have to do inner practice. I have to have an inner practice. Whether you do it in the morning, laughter, sit, contemplate, chant, alignment. Practice your alignment. Practice how to return to the alignment. And I find that meditative movement or Tai Chi Chuan or anything that involves breath and movement is a good practice, because when you find yourself in the middle of chaos in public places, you can use your own body language and breath to align you so you can be independent of the chaos, unless you have to run. But the idea of having a practice in place, so that's how we protect our peace. Knowing how to maintain your alignment, how to get back into alignment. One of the mistakes you make about getting back into alignment is to start beating yourself up for being out of alignment. And that, no, don't do that. Just find your way back into alignment. Nothing's wrong. You're okay. Just be in the alignment. And the practice, so that it's your inner nature. It's the momentum of your inner practice. And the word peace, balance, equilibrium, calm. And the breath too, because there's so much information on our breath. We can want to be in peace, but we're breathing erratic breath, learning how to slow the breath down. There's appropriate times to do this. Don't do this while being confronted with a bear. Just go easy with it. The idea of protecting your peace, and know how to do this if you're listening to the news or reading the any news reports of violence or stress anywhere on the planet or struggle. Be with your breath while witnessing this. So to guard your breath, take responsibility for your breath flow. Return to the flow, and don't beat yourself up if you find yourself outside the flow. No. And if you're into meditative movement, you can even do it quietly. When I've done this on a subway train in New York, when we thought that some other activity on the same car was distracting the passengers, I would just... Yes.
yeah. I'm also curious about you grew up in Baptist church.
Thank you for the compliment. That I'm a grown-up.
No, you. Oh, yeah, true. So you're growing up in Baptist church, but at the same time you are. Your spiritual practice is. What is your spiritual practice?
Jesus! No, actually, Jesus actually opened a lot of doors. And I understand that Jesus was responsible for the Course in Miracles. How many people have heard of the Course in Miracles? Yes. And so that kept me open. It kept me open to receiving information even from metaphysics and from other esoteric directions in life. What was the question?
What's your current spiritual practice?
Okay. This. Next question.
I know that you're wearing orange a lot. Like, is it linked to that book that you mentioned?
Orange book, meditation book?
Yeah.
Orange. Yes. If one really wanted a more grounded answer, my spiritual practice, call it being aware of my most valuable possession is my conscious alignment with the divine, my conscious alignment with and within and as the divine. So asness is the spiritual practice, not going toward the light, but going as light, learning how to let this be real, not going toward divinity, going as divinity, not going toward greatness, but going as greatness, asness, as opposed to two. And the spiritual path is the as path, full of as. My path is full of as. Everywhere I go, my as is with me. And I make sure that. So it says, don't go as. Just think, are you here because you came to this place or you came as this place? Where is your asness? AS. And I'm serious about it. And it's a gift because there's some comedic edge to this. When I say, make sure you're wherever you are, your as is with you. And if you're totally in your asness, you're in the here and now. And this is, you're present. You're full. You're not going. You're not the anxiety of trying to get there. You're fully present. The idea of becoming fully present. And maybe you do that through meditation, contemplation. And my feeling is that when you're totally present in your asness, you're not investing in a future. Let's say you don't have a future or a past. There's nothing behind you. When you're in your as, you have no behind. You're just totally... You're totally present. And if you take this very seriously and be as I am, Ramana Maharshi is a book called Be As Thou Art. Be as thou art. Assuming that in the ultimate understanding of who you are, be this. Be this now. Don't go toward that. Be this now. So when you say, well, how do I be as? It may mean peeling layers off, peeling titles off, names off, everything that is a vehicle for getting to the future or the past. Step out of the vehicle, off of the vehicle, and sit with just the now, the here. Be as this which remains when we become disentangled.
And like, what's one thing you wish you had known earlier in your career? Like, if you can go, I know we're in the present time, but if you can go back in the present time, like, what would you say to Laraaji of that time?
Take the exploration with marijuana more serious as a sacred practice. Because I was guided, I received the calling very young to explore marijuana, but I didn't have a community around to say, hey, that's cool, you should try that. So I had to do it as a rebel undercover. And it was my path, it's part of my path, that, and I received the calling to explore the use of cannabis in a very mystical way. But it didn't tell me it would be opening me up to my path as a channel. And then I found out by connecting other dots that this is what I'm supposed to be doing. That's what I would do. Another thing I would probably do is I'd probably start vegetarianism earlier in my life.
And like, do you see a connection between your lifestyle, like diet, and your health? Because, I mean, 5 on you. I mean, in Morocco we say 5 on you. It's like to bless you, but you look really healthy and active and very present. Like even yesterday, you were engaging with the whole audience, which not that many musicians do. Like, I feel like we were all together. We were all one.
You were?
I am.
Ah, holy moly!
Yeah. I am in the performance, and I am reflecting. Yeah, I don't know what I'm saying, but I am. But I'm curious, like, do you see a connection between your meditation practice, music, touring, and your diet that allow you to? Do you see um, allow you to stay how you are right now?
Yes, connecting the dots. The vegetarian side is somewhere in my younger years, because our family sustained a house fire up in New Jersey. The parents took the three boys south to live with our grandfolks in the rural part of Virginia. And there I got to see how my Sunday chicken dinner was prepared on Saturday. They would chicken's head would be chopped off and the chicken would be left to flop around the field. And I saw that, but I accepted it because I was young and the chicken dinner on Sunday was great. And when I started exploring meditation and consciousness, I felt a conflict that with the consuming or animals, kind of a sensitivity to what goes on with animals. And I couldn't continue meditation comfortably until I shifted my diet. That's for one thing. Because I could not divorce what I think there's a slaughter aspect of animals, because I witnessed it for myself. If I never witnessed it, I could probably get away with it. But I witnessed it, and I tried to think I could get away with it until one day I was at a music party, and the host was serving food to all the musicians. She would send her little helper around to the different musicians. Says, "We're ready for you. What would you like to have?" And I said, "I would like some chicken and potato salad." And they went out and barbecued and brought the chicken back. In the meantime, I had smoked a joint. And when they brought the chicken to me, it was rare. And I bit into it, and my whole imagination put the whole chicken in front of me. And I made the connection with, and cold turkey, I stopped chicken. I faded out with meat, and the last to go was seafood. But I made the commitment. I also understood from reading about vegetarianism and meditation that our stomachs are not designed to process meat the way like a dog's intestines are. Wow. And so I wanted to have my digestive system more liberated so that my body could be in a state of readiness for meditation. So that's what the meditation impacted my desire to go into vegetarianism. So what was the other part of the question?
No, I think you answered it.
Yes,
Yeah.
making the decisions, lifestyle decisions. And the idea of staying in alignment means making room, making time, space for meditation in my life. And it's very awkward because many of my friends says, "I don't have time to meditate. I just can't do it. I got kids, I got a car, I got a bill, I can't meditate." And for me, it was easy because I was given an emergency. You know, I was going into mass media, film work. I did a movie called Putney Swope. Yeah. And after I saw the movie, I said, "Whoa, how do I want to manage my energy in the mass media?" And I've got to make my mind up for myself. Would I do a nude role? Would I shoot somebody? Whatever. And on the film, I don't know. Would I just take the money and run? So these are some questions I needed answers to. And just about then, I got it that meditation was what I needed to do. I needed to find my own meditation. I tried different techniques, but it sounded like the Indians had a monopoly on meditation. And it was Richard Hittleman, a book by Richard Hittleman, a Western writer, a book on Bantam books called Yoga and Meditation. I read the little book, and it demystified what meditation was. And in essence, he was talking to me about transcendental meditation, the generic form, going beyond your titles and sitting with the self that is in the midst of the titles, but it's beyond. And when I started practicing that, I realized that meditation was necessary because I was starting to get answers. It also helped me to understand the mystical teachings I was given as a child. And it took the edge off my involvement in the world narratives. I mean, not getting bent out of shape about what's going on in the world.
Yeah. Sorry, I definitely can relate, and also I'm curious about like your sorry, so many little your thoughts on the fact that we carry our ancestors with us at all time. Do you think, because you had that calling, but do you think the ancestor is in you who called you?
That is good. Wow. That
So,
could be. I won't deny that. Ancestors within, because the one way to tiptoe up on this and see for yourself is if you ever stand in the bathroom and look in the mirror, maybe use a candle on one side, if you can avoid incandescent lighting, two candles lit, and just stare into your left eye or third eye, as little blinking as possible, and your face will start to transfigure, and you'll see other faces. And I've done that, and I believe I've seen ancestral energy there. And why not? That ancestral energy accompanies us, is here in our cellular and in our makeup. Where else could there be but here and now? And they're probably still talking to us. It's just, yo, boo-boo, what up? Hey, why don't you do this a little different, Don't give up on that relationship. This is what it's all about.
yeah, I'd like to open up some questions, but before, maybe a last question. What makes you happy?
Smiles make me laugh, makes me happy. Receiving a very obvious communication interdimensionally, a guidance that keeps reminding me, hey, you're not alone, you're not a separate, individual, fragmented part of the universe. We're here, we're aware of you. When I get those kind of communications, wow, that's a wow. And the happiness, I'm starting to think that I prefer the word content.
Content, yeah.
What helped me to remain content? I'm more intent on contentment.
Yeah.
I'm content now. I'm very content. I could be happy. I'm happy and content. George Carlin says I'm fine and dandy.
Well,
Did you? What makes you happy?
I think breathing.
Beauty?
No, breathing.
Breathing? Yeah, try not breathing. Yes, and in fact, certain kinds of breathing, called rebirthing or pranayama, you can go into very extreme blissful places. So that's a very good answer. And that is very good, because I can relate to that when you're nearly drowning and you finally get the next breath. Yeah. That breath, really respect. That's a symbol of how many things we're really grateful for, but we've forgotten that we're grateful for it until we're in an extreme situation.
Yeah.
So the breath, as you said, yes, I'm very happy. Yeah.
Nice. I have so many questions, but I think like it's. I don't know if we have enough time, but I would love to ask to open up for some questions.
I am the time.
Perfect. But yeah, thank you so much, Laraaji.
Are you going to do some questions?
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, if anyone wants to ask some questions, you can come here and use the mic. Someone, yeah.
Hi, Laraaji.
Hi, whoever you are.
My name is Jordan.
Joy?
Jordan.
Jordan.
Thank you for speaking to us.
You're infinitely welcome, Jordan. See, Jordan smiling, that makes me happy.
Same. Earlier you spoke about accessing multidimensional consciousness, specifically like the fifth dimension, as a feeling of oneness, or like a feeling within a feeling. And I thought that was really beautiful, and I'm curious if you've gone beyond that fifth dimension, and if so, what does the sixth or the seventh feel like for you?
That's extremely good question, Jordan. That my understanding is that whatever dimension you're aware of, you have to be a dimension above it. So to see the fifth dimension, you have to be the sixth. So the sixth dimension is that from which you experience the fifth dimension. Though I cannot have nothing to say about the sixth dimension. I can imagine we go on and on. My sense is that we go up or higher dimensions, we go into more concentrated present time, and that the bodies that we require are more ethereal, more tone and luminous based bodies, which makes sense at this frequency because we can sustain continuous present time more efficiently. And that's about all I can say at the time. For fifth dimension, it would be no you and no me, but an us, and all of us are awares at the same time. And a blissful dropout of separation or the anxiety of separatism and division.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jordan. Yo, Jordan in the house.
It's my favorite color.
I noticed.
Big fan. Yeah. Yeah.
Hello.
Good.
Yeah,
Huh.
there's
Well, just before, I don't know if it's a question so much as I just wanted to talk to you for a second. Just before I came over here, I was telling a new friend how I do guided meditations.
Yes.
And it wasn't until I allowed this character I used to do, still do, Granny G.
What's the name?
Granny G.
Granny G?
Yeah. Once I realized that she wasn't just a character, but this channel and this embodiment. And sometimes I try to avoid, be like, no, Granny, stop, I'm trying to be serious. And she's like, no, I'm coming in, I'm coming hot. I was like, all right, Granny's got something to say. And let her just speak through me. It was I don't know, it's just not my words anymore. It's a radio channel. It's tuning into the AM frequencies, hearing what the people want to hear, saying it back to them. And people ask me, how long have you been practicing Taoism? I say, I don't know what you're talking about. Granny, though, maybe she's been doing it for a while. But, she's been a nice channeler. But I just wanted to come and say thank you, because I think a lot of what you've been saying is just so affirming into my own journey into spirituality, because it is just the listening. And it's even sometimes I do have tinnitus and I just hear that ringing, and it's sometimes annoying, but other times it's I follow the sound and I lead it, and then I see something and I'm like, oh shit, that's what I was looking for, and I go follow it. And it's just really cool to see someone that we all look up to affirm that shit right now in my young moment, to come into it. So yeah, I just wanted to say thank you.
Yummy.
So yummy.
Yes, indeed.
Okay, I do have one question.
Yes.
Can we laugh together?
No. We can laugh as one.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Yum. Yes. Thank me.
Thank me. I think I.
Yeah.
Hey, Laraaji.
Hey. Your
Hey,
name?
I'm Sam.
Sam.
Very nice to meet you.
Hello, Sam.
On the topic of colors, I noticed you were wearing a beautiful orange outfit yesterday, another one today. Do you find that the colors you wear, the outfits you wear, changes your state of consciousness, or the clothing you don't wear?
It supports more of a radiant, cheerful, positive energy, playful. Also a color of fire, transformation, letting go. Sometimes think of it as a initiation colors, sunset on the old way of knowing self, sunrise on the new way of knowing self. Positivity. If I tried to wear black or blue, I like blue jeans, and denim, that I have an experiment with white, sometimes all white if I'm doing a specific ceremony. So with this color, there's a playfulness about it. I call it a work in progress, artistic work in progress. So you should notice different shades of orange, especially if you mail order. They say orange, it comes, that's orange. And you work with it. But it's a playful work a sacred work in progress.
When did you kind of start to develop that understanding of how clothing and what you put on influences how you feel?
Very early in the 70s, I thought white was a color, it's an expansive color, and neutral, all-embracing. And I began experimenting with the color of orange when I was playing music on the sidewalks of Manhattan and Washington, in Central Park. And on afternoons, I would go to have lunch at a Hare Krishna restaurant where you could have all you could eat for $5. That was something. And there was a boutique that you had to pass through to get to the restaurant. Eventually, I started saying, something says I want to start experimenting with the color orange, or that color. I didn't realize that I was reaching for a nonverbal language for an initiation experience I had had, but didn't have, of hearing this cosmic sound current in the 70s. Right shortly after that, I started experimenting with the color orange. And a spiritual teacher said, you had received an inner initiation that's trying to surface, and you're using a nonverbal language of color to represent transformation. The experience I had or didn't have was totally transformative. It transformed my experience of time and space. You know, I thought we're in the third and fourth dimension, and there's another dimension. Whoa. And to experience it, it's as an artist, it gave me another venue within which to bring in music. And that, I didn't realize it was an initiation. That's why I'm saying many of us are on a vision quest here, and we've had initiations that we didn't know it's an initiation until somebody points and says, hey, you're doing that because you've had an initiation. You had a deep brain change. And you said, really? Yeah. And the teacher said, you should wear more of these colors of transformation to help stoke the fires of this initiation that wants to surface. So he gave me a full set of orange clothes, and I said, "Oh."
You said what?
Yes. Oh. Because in his tradition, he was calling it sannyas. Taking sannyas is when you were crawling and walking, now it's time to run. That everyone is your friend, and you are being absorbed in your divine self-understanding. So I began wearing more orange, and I started making it fun. It's
beautiful. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Peace.
Hi, Laraaji.
Hello.
You mentioned waking up and stretching in bed and then laughing for 15 minutes.
Yes, I did.
Do you do that?
No.
And
I do it sometimes, and but I did it at the beginning, just to test it out for 7 days.
at the beginning?
And in other words, when I heard of the exercise, I tried it out on myself, and I did it for 7 days. Laugh for 15 minutes, and I saw what happened. And so now I got the gist of it, and so I can do it not. Sometimes I do it in the bed in the morning. Sometimes I do it on the subway. Sometimes in the park. Sometimes backstage before a performance. And do it with laughter play shops. I don't call them workshops anymore. I call them play shops because we get to play with our laughter. So I do it a lot, but not every morning in the bed.
What rituals would you recommend for people who don't get started in the morning?
One ritual I do is to plot out my path from the bed to the bathroom. What is I got to take with me? Because my bathroom is at the other end of the apartment. So I said, if I get there, I'm going to want to put these pants on. I want to plot out my day. What do I like to accomplish today, generally, and how? Laughter, or sometimes I'll just be still and let, we call it the fifth dimension, waft up into awareness. Just stillness, practice stillness, and know that that stillness is omnipresent. So that sets the stage for even performance. I don't take the stillness to a performance. I go to the performance and know that the stillness is already there, and I just amplify it or point to it with sound. So the idea of, I guess I could sum it up into remembering what is my mission or intention today, and to feel it. It's not just to do something, but to feel it. I tell you, non-linear intention is feeling. It's so waking up and feeling how I want to unfold this day. And laughter happens maybe 4 times a month while I'm in the bed. I've tried it for 70 minutes once. It's very, very revealing. It gets to a place where I don't want to call it laughter. I call it euphoria, celebration, ecstasy. And it becomes more of a breath meditation at the time.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning.
Hello.
Hello.
How are you?
Thank
you both for such an amazing discussion, first of all. And my question is referring to inner romance and getting aligned. When you're trying to listen to the messages you're receiving, and you, on one hand, you get a signal of sorts, but how do you know if it's a signal saying to do something or like a challenge? The difference between signal and challenge, I guess, is where I'm getting to.
The word experimentation comes to mind. Experiment with following what you think you heard or the guidance, and be mindful of the frequency or the vibration that accompanies you when you try to fulfill that. You know, are there peace? Is there serenity? Is there a nurturing quality? A lot of my guidance will remind me to stop and smell the flowers. It's not just about doing something all the time. So I would follow what you think and observe what goes on when that happens. As you start seeing the quality of your life during that exercise. That's the best. You'd have to observe from the inside out. Another way is, will this bring me peace or will it bring me anxiety? If I do this, will it bring more peace into my life or will it bring more anxiety? If you ask that, I think a lot of things will get canceled.
Does everything lead back to peace in the end?
If the end is now, here is where we're going. Here's to where we return. If peace, I believe peace is the highest compliment for who we are at the beginning and the end, this.
Thank you.
You are welcome. Yes.
Well, maybe.
Hey, Laraaji.
Hello.
My name is Marae.
Hi, Marae.
Hi, Laraaji. So you mentioned wearing orange to signal the sunset of oneself and the sunrise of another.
Sunrise on the new way of knowing self, sunset on the old way of knowing self.
I'm curious. I would love to know what kind of like rituals or rites of passage you have for those moments in life when oneself / one way of knowing self is dying and another is emerging.
I'd say you could watch your body language and your physical behavior, what you tend to try to reach for. I would say those experiences, if they happen to you, at the beginning, you're at a loss for the words of how to integrate it. And one exercise to do is you do try to talk it to yourself. You try to describe it to yourself. That when you describe those abstract experiences, whether you write it down, you're opening up the doorway for more of it to come. This, if you write it down, what you think happened, even if you struggle with the words. I used color at the time, but if I had spent time, this is what I think happened, even if I'm clumsy with words, the effort to try to give it expression will open up the portal through which more of that can come. In other words, when you can you remember the experience you're talking about? Or if you have an initiatory or transformational experience, to verbalize it as best you can to yourself. Ooh, I was just thinking about Randy Hawkins, and I walked by a store and I saw a picture of Randy Hawkins in the window. Wow. You know, you would verbalize what had happened rather than just letting it happen. Verbalize what you think happened as like you're reporting on it. So you can open the door to that conduit or that passage through which those experiences come. It could be called writing, morning pages, diary to yourself. And even if you have to struggle for the wording, because it's definitely, usually they're abstract, the wording isn't easy, but to reach for the wording is what will open it further. Murray.
Laraaji.
Indeed.
Thank you.
We're welcome.
Yeah, maybe one more question. Oh, I think there's some feedback.
Hi, Laraaji.
Hello and hi.
My name is Laith.
Laith?
Laith.
Laith.
Yes. Hi. It's such an honor to get to meet you and to hear you speak and share your experiences. I just want to say thank you. I spent a lot of time listening to Essence doing a really intensive ketamine therapy for many months.
Essence on ketamine.
That was the first song I would listen to every Saturday during that process. So thank you for that. It took me many places.
Yes.
I wanted to ask you, I guess, a question about home.
Home?
And the Sangha, right?
Sangha.
Yes. Because I'm having this experience, we're having this experience of letting go, right, of the material realm and all of these things, and knowing that consciousness and spirit is what we're here to experience and continue. And yet still there's like all of these limits of the material.
What would be what?
There are all these limits still in the material realm, and ultimately we like live in it. So how do
Could you put it this way? I perceive there are limitations in the material world.
I perceive there are limitations.
Okay.
I don't, but under capitalism, I experience limitations, whether I perceive them or not. And I wonder about how you come home to yourself, or what that means to you when you hear about that sentiment. If home is not the material thing.
Okay. Let's say if you want to get home, you have a strategy. One strategy is to stop leaving. Fastest way home is to stop leaving. We're there now. So how we leave home on vehicles, the vehicles of thought, thinking. I say like a bus. If we get on a vehicle, we've got to go to the future or the past. If you must get on a bus, get on the bus with the flat tires. But this moment is the home. It's home. And if we don't see it, it's because we're trying to see it through the filters, a mind that's filled with thinking. And so the mind thinks it's a thought thing. To experience the mind before or beyond thought can be very surprising. To say, wow, I can be here without thinking. And to me, this is home. And a home is eternal. It is sustained, eternal present time. And so the only way to get home is to stop leaving. I don't know how to figure out, how do you leave? How are you leaving? Are you home right now?
I feel home right now.
All right.
But what
This
about,
retreat is a way to stop leaving. Immersion is a way to stop leaving. Sound baths are a way to stop leaving. A warm hug is a way to stop leaving. Immersion. Omni-emotional content. When you can feel and your emotional presencing is containing the infinite present time, that I feel we are cosmically home, that we're not roaming, we're here.
how do we begin to integrate like experiences of displacement, whether they're happening like in one's apparently singular life or something, or across different experiences? Like, I feel like there's so much displacement and dislocation resonant across this present here and now. Like, as we are home here, there is also like home that is constantly being upheaved.
It starts within, and to contact that safe sense of home within, and so far within that we are that, we're the current, we are the timeless present moment. To become familiar with it, and like I said, the heroine or the hero's journey is to at least devote 10% of the day to this. And you start to dilute the field of negativity or separation and start bringing in this more light, luminous selfness. Just to find the time for timelessness. So you probably can make up a lot of good excuses for not being present. I've got to go there. I've got to do this. This person is expecting me to return a call. I've got to take care of this. Now, all of these are reasons for not being in sustained present time. We have more obligations to leave. In my case, I had an obligation to really get clear. And the only way to get clear is to know who I am, and the only way to know who I am is to be still enough to observe the nonlinear. So practicing ways of being present, staying home, and watching.
Thank you.
I don't know if there was one person here. Oh, okay. Okay. Okay, last question.
Hi.
Hello. Hi.
I have a question about earlier when you were talking about how you wished you could tell your younger self to experience marijuana spiritually or mystically, you said?
Yes.
And that spoke to me because my friend, who's sort of like my guide in the world of like meditation and spirituality, he told me to avoid trying to meditate while stoned. And one time I did do that, and I had a really intense out-of-body experience. I don't know if it was a good thing or a bad thing, but I just wondered what you thought about that.
I resisted advising people to use marijuana without a spiritual practice, to get the spiritual practice online first. A spiritual teacher once told me that when you use marijuana, if you're going down, it'll take you down. If you're going up, it'll take you up. So knowing how to set an intention, for me, 45 minutes before ingesting, or better yet, that it's your life practice to, if your life practice is about going up and going in, then to have, this will amplify it. Or if you jump into cannabis without a spiritual discipline or practice or any idea of how to set an intention, that you might be opening yourself up into directions you don't want to be there when you get there. So the idea of setting intention or having a spiritual practice online, whether it's chanting or reading from your favorite author or getting a clear perspective of who you are in a nonverbal language, where there's just being still and feeling the presence that you are, so that your intention is setting the course.
I'm surprised no one's ever said that to me before, but people do tell me all the time that marijuana makes them paranoid, or I experience that sometimes too, but sometimes it lifts you up. And,
Yes, if your intention is not clear, if you're in a field of division, naturally you're going to have adversaries, and it'll expand your awareness of adversaries and negativity. Though paranoia is a very famous byproduct of the use unaccompanied by a clear intention. I found that mind science practice was a way when negativity or paranoia comes up, to affirm who I am. I'm in the presence of, I am safe, I am connected to the divine within. Knowing how to run an affirmation or prayer or positive statement can dilute the impact paranoia. Paranoia is the negative, the imagination working overtime on a negative suggestion. And you know how to dilute a negative suggestion right in its tracks. You have that, whether you use mind science, positive thinking, or...
Yeah. So you think that mindfulness and cannabis use can go hand in hand?
If the mindfulness is on track, is firmly on track,
Right.
No, I understand teachers saying if you're going to a teacher, it means you don't know for yourself. So the teacher says, if you don't know for yourself, don't mess with that.
Right.
If your inner teacher comes up and says, we got you, then you follow it. The teacher says, don't do it, because they know if you're guided from within, you'll be given your permission and you'll see it and you feel it. But if you don't feel guided, don't look for me to give you the guidance.
Okay. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Well, thank you so much, Laraaji.
Thank you. Thank you. Oh, yeah. Goodbye for now. Hello forever.